Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuro Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone. We are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on third canto and we are discussing chapter number 30 today. So, we have discussed till 29 chapters. And in this 29th chapter, Kapil Dev, he instructed Mother Devahuti about some more aspects of pure devotional service. So, this is a section going on where Kapil Dev is describing the Sankhya, the knowledge of the material world, the material analysis. And in that, he has described so far everything. And now he in the 29th chapter, he described something more about pure devotional service. And in that, we saw wonderful definitions of pure devotional service. Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhashaye Manogati Ravichinna Yatha Gangam Bhasau Ambudau. Just like Ganga flows towards the ocean, let my consciousness always flow towards you. Let my devotees' consciousness always flow towards me. They don't want anything of this world, even if they are given liberation. Salokya, Sarishti, Samipya, Sarupya, Ekatvam. They don't want if there is no service. And then in the end, he described the characteristics of time. So today we'll be discussing chapter number 30, description by Lord Kapila of fruitive activities. So in 5 chapters, Kapil Dev has described the glories of devotional service, pure devotional service mixed with the modes, then about Ashtanga, about Jnana. So now from this 30 chapter onwards, 3 chapters, he describes the results arising from the activities of Sattvagun, Rajogun and Tamogun. So that's how in 30th chapter, in this chapter, he'll describe a person, how he goes through in his life, a materialistic person, who engages in sinful activities. Adverse fruitive activity means sinful activity. The chapter is entitled Adverse Fruitive Activity. So living entity, he does lots of sinful activities, and because of that he suffers. How he suffers in this life and after death, the journey to hell, is described in great detail. What happens in the journey there, that is also described by Kapila Dev. So in this way, so many things are described by Kapila Dev in this chapter. Very, very sobering chapter. So we'll be discussing this chapter. So in the first section, there are 2 sections: life and death of a person, in this world, and then next section is what happens after death. So that is a very, very interesting and very, very sobering chapter. Okay, so Kapila, he starts explaining the miseries of an attached householder. So we'll cite this verse. Tasya tasya jano nunam nayam vedo ruvikramam kalyamanopi balino vayoriva ghanavalihi. So tasya etasya jana nunam, certainly people, jana means ordinary men, they do not know, na ayam ved, they do not know the result of uruvikrama. When they perform sinful activities or wrong activities, they do not know the results of them. And because they are tasya etasya janonunam, they are engaged in material consciousness, because they have materialistic thoughts, materialistic consciousness. So they engage in all the sinful activities and they don't realize the power of time factor, because that's what he discussed in the previous chapter. Last was characteristics of time. So this personality does not know the power of time, how time passes by. In fact, we know that Krishna himself is a time factor. Sarvam kala kritam manye bhavatam cha yadapriyam sapalo yadvashe loko vayor iva ghanavali. The same words come there also in the first canto of 9th chapter, where Bhishma is telling that everything has happened by the time factor, power of time factor. Vayor iva ghanavali. Just like ghanavali, just like the clouds, they are carried from one place to another by the influence of the powerful wind. Vayor, they do not know the power of wind. Wind displaces all the biggest of the clouds. Vayor ghanavali. So people, they do not know the powerful strength of time factor. This time factor is very, very powerful. And people, they do not understand how this time factor is working upon a person. As it is said, समय सबको चुपचाप बूढ़ा बना देता है. We don't even realize कब बूढ़े हो गए. अरे अभी तो हम स्कूल में जाते थे, कॉलेज में थे, हम लोगों को अंकल बोलते थे, अभी लोग अंकल बोल रहे हैं हमको. So that's how time factor is. There are many places in Bhagavatam where time factor is described. Devotee does not try to counteract the time factor. People in the world, materialistic people, they try to counteract the time factor. How people counteract the time factor? What are the various ways people, they try to, counteract it? Plastic surgery. Botox. Okay, dye. हेयर को डाई कर लेते हैं, बूढ़े नहीं है, अभी हम जवान हैं, अभी तो हम जवान हैं. Okay. So that's how, people, they try to counteract. Entire world is engaged in this, trying to counteract this time factor. But devotees, they don't try to counteract. They try to transcend it by focusing on the Supreme Lord. Ayurharti vai pumsam udyam astancha yannasau tasyartya shanaunita uttam shloka vartaya. With every rising and setting of the sun, the life duration of a person is decreasing. We are one day close to death. But a devotee, he is not coming close to death. He is coming close to eternal life, because he is focusing on the Supreme Lord. So that's how devotees, they don't try to counteract it. Prabhupada writes in the purport, he quotes a very famous verse, famous Chanakya Niti, that if you waste one moment, it cannot be gained even if you spend millions of rupees. Ayu shana ekopi. Ayusha shana ekopi. If you spend even one moment, you can't gain it back. So devotees should be very, very careful not to waste time. Because time factor is a representation of the Lord. If we are wasting time, that means we are disrespecting Supreme Lord. Because Lord appears in the form of time factor. He is time factor. Kalo asmi. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am time. So avyartha kalatvam is very, very important for a devotee. Avyartha kalatvam means not wasting a single moment, idly, or which is not utilized in service of Krishna, either directly or indirectly. And today's world of distraction, it is so very easy to waste time. Social media and all the things, they are so easy. Just few days back, one of the very senior counselor devotees, he was telling that somebody was telling me that you want to do fund collection, so Instagram पे नहीं है आप तो कैसे होगा fund collection. So he said चलो देखते तो क्या होता है Instagram में. And then he said I started surfing and 1 hour went by. पता भी नहीं चला, 1 घंटा निकल गया. एक के बाद एक नया नया वीडियो आ रहा है. पहले पेरेंटिंग सेमिनार्स, फिर हाउ टू मैनेज फैमिली रिलेशनशिप्स, एंड देन वो आईपीएल आ गया, फिर एक नया मूवी आ गया, फिर पॉलिटिक्स का आ गया. दैट्स हाउ टाइम गोज बाय. So Prabhupada writes, either materially or spiritually, one should be very alert in utilizing the time factor. It is very, very important. Then Kapila continues that time actually destroys everything. Yam yam artham upadatte dukkena sukhetave tam tam dhunoti bhagavan puman shochati yat krite. So yam yam artham upadatte. So whatever is produced by this materialistic path, whatever one gains by all this endeavor, dukhena sukhetave. Dukh se bahut dukh milta hai. Anything you want to attain in this world, it's great pain, great labor. Why? I want happiness. So-called happiness. This word is used many times. So-called happiness. So-called matlab kya hai? Why it is called as so-called? Not real. You think that it is real. I'll be happy if I get this, but it never happens. That's why it is called as so-called. Tam tam dhunoti bhagavan. The Supreme Lord, in the form of time factor, destroys whatever a materialist gains. Shochati yatkrite, and for this reason, when everything is destroyed, a conditioned soul laments. Shocha. Sochta nahi hai, shocha. Shocha means lamentation, hankering and lamentation. So materialist sees the time from a utilitarian point of view. I'll utilize time for my benefit. I'll gain this, I'll gain that. Ishwaroham, Maham Bhogi, Siddhoham, Balavan, Sukhi. I am so powerful, I have so much. Today I have gained so much, tomorrow I'll gain more. I have defeated all these people. These are remaining, I'll defeat them tomorrow. That is the mentality of a materialist. But spiritualist, a devotee, sees that time factor is a representation of God. So I'll serve the time factor. I'll use the time factor very, very, precisely, very, very discreetly. I'll not waste time. So because Krishna is himself time, so time management is a very, very important thing for a devotee. Otherwise, everything will be destroyed by the time factor. If a materialist utilizes time properly, he'll gain material things. But a spiritualist, a devotee, time management means how can I utilize my time in service of the Lord? Whatever I am doing, my direct activities or indirect activities of my life. So that's how we have to take care of time. It is said that people, they are so very conscious of time. Today it is a clock driven society. भाग रहे हैं लोग. Local train पकड़ने के लिए, everything, you catch a bus, you train or anything, you have to beat the clock. But the important thing is people are very careful of seconds and minutes. How मेरा इतना समय निकल गया, but they're not aware of decades passing by, years passing by, decades passing by. वो नहीं ध्यान दे रहे. Few seconds, few minutes, they're careful, but few decades have gone by, they don't care. So that's how we have to be very careful about this time factor, because as they say, time is money in this age. And the more you utilize and manage time properly, the more money you'll get. So we have to be really careful. As a devotee, how much time we spend in our direct activities of Krishna consciousness, hearing, chanting. Because our 2 hours of chanting, our hearing, that decides our consciousness for remaining 22 hours. If we are not alert and attentive, or try to be attentive, at least we are trying to be. वो तो alert और attentive तो कभी होगा मालूम नहीं, but at least we are trying to be attentive. Then Krishna will reciprocate. So therefore, Kapil Dev is saying this time everyone is destroyed and everything is destroyed by time factor. As one devotee was saying that time is irrecoverable and unstorable. You cannot recover it, you cannot store it, but you can use it for a right purpose. Everything gets destroyed. We have to just choose how to utilize our time properly. So then why does the person lament? Puman shochati, क्यों सोचता, क्यों मतलब दुखी क्यों होता है? Why he is lamenting? Why he is troubled? यद अध्रुवस्य देहस्य सानुबन्धस्य दुर्मतिः ध्रुवाणि मन्यते मोहात् गृहक्षेत्र वसूनि च. So yad adhruvasya dehasya, this misguided materialist does not know that this very body is adhruva. Dhruva means impermanent. The body is impermanent. And the relationships are also temporary. The body is temporary. The relationships are temporary. Sa anubandha, bandhan. Whatever relations you have, that is also temporary. And out of moha, out of ignorance only, he thinks that everything is permanent. That's what Yaksha, when he asked Yamaraj, what is the most astonishing thing in this world? What did he say? In Yaksha Prashna in Mahabharata, it comes. अभी नहीं, अभी तो बहुत समय है. अहनि अहनि भूतानि गच्छन्ति ह यमालयम शेषः स्थावरम इच्छन्ति किम आश्चर्यम अतः परम. Every second people are dying. Every second people are committing suicide. According to WHO, all over the world, every 40 minutes, 1 million people commit. No, 1 million, sorry. In a year, I said 1 million suicides. Every minute, 7. So many people are dying. But those, my relative has died, my great grandparents are not there. But still, grandparents, they are also very old, they are also dying. I will not die. अभी समय है मेरे को. शेष स्थावरम इच्छन्ति, जो बच जाते हैं उनको लगता है नहीं अभी समय है. So that is the astonishing thing. Out of ignorance only he thinks that everything is permanent. What are the things permanent? He thinks griha, kshetra, vasuni, my home, my land, my wealth. So Prabhupada writes, the materialist thinks that persons engaged in Krishna consciousness are crazy fellows wasting time by chanting Hare Krishna. But actually he does not know that he himself is in the darkest region of craziness. Materialist thinks that devotees are crazy. Devotees know that materialists are crazy. So Prabhupada has written an article, who is crazy? In the beginning days, who is crazy? Because लोग बोलते हैं क्या कर रहे हो आप लोग, ये सब दिखावा कर रहे हो, हरे कृष्णा टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हो. यूटिलाइज टाइम प्रॉपर्ली फॉर समथिंग प्रोडक्टिव. ये चैंटिंग डांसिंग करने से कुछ होने वाला है? कुछ नहीं होगा. So they don't know that they are wasting their time. One person asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, what if at the end of the life you realize there is no Krishna? What will you do? Prabhupada said, even if there is no Krishna, we met good people, we ate good prasad, we went to good places, and we lived a happy life. We enjoyed our life. But what if at the end of life you realize that there is Krishna? What will you do? And we know that Krishna is there. So everyone thinks that they are wasting their time. Prabhupada writes, a Krishna conscious person knows that this economic development of human society is temporary illusion. When all economic development and material advancement are utilized to advance the cause of Krishna consciousness, a new phase of progressive life arises. So all our material endeavor should be for pleasure of Krishna. Nehayat karma dharmaya na viragaya kalpate na tirthapada sevaya jivan napi mritopi sa. If your karma doesn't lead to dharma, if your dharma doesn't lead to vairagya, if your vairagya doesn't lead to devotional service, jivan napi mritopi sa, it is all waste. So that's all our endeavors should be for the pleasure of Krishna and to develop pure devotional service. Prabhupada quotes that people, they worship their Janma Bhumi, Janani Janma Bhumi Swargadapi Gariyasi, ऐसा बोलते हैं, you know, motherland is greater than heaven. Bhagavatam gives all the gali to such people. Anyone who thinks his motherland to be all in all, he is, यार बराबर ये टाइम पे क्यों आते हो यार? So Prabhupada writes that in this world, anybody who thinks that, oh, my motherland is worshipable and I'll go to holy places just to take bath and I'll come back, he is compared to cow and donkey, go khara. Bhagavatam doesn't leave any, मतलब कुछ तो यार इतना जा रहा है ना, at least nothing less than pure devotional service is accepted here. Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. All the cheating type of religions, they are, rejected right in the beginning. So that's how Bhagavatam is very, very strict about principles. You are going to holy place, why are you going? Just to develop some piety? पुण्य मिलेगा, थोड़ा दर्शन कर लेंगे, थोड़ा स्नान कर लेंगे, I'll get punya. No. What is the use of punya? You will again come back in this world. So therefore he says, people, they do not understand that everything is temporary in this world. Out of ignorance only they think that it is permanent. And then Kapil Dev gives one strong example. Jantu vaibhave tasmin yam yam yonim manuvrajit tasyam salabhate nirvritim na virajyate narakastopi deham vai napumam syaktumicchati narakyam nirvirtau satyam deva maya vimohitaha. So he says, Jantu vaibhava etasmin. In this world, in yam yonin, whatever species a living entity goes in, tasyam salabhati. He gets a particular type of happiness there. And nirvritim na virajyate. He does not want to give up that. Any species of life. No species of life will say it is abominable. You kill me, I'll take birth in another species. I'm getting so much of happiness there. So that's how material energy, Maya Devi, covers everyone. Prabhupada writes there are two types of energies, potencies, avaranatmika and prakshepatmika. So when you enter a movie theater, जो पहले जाते थे, so first thing is all the lights are put off. So that is avarana of darkness. And then another light goes on. That is prakshepatmika or vikshepatmika. So when a living entity comes in this world, he forgets his eternal constitutional position, Jivera Swarupa Hoye Krishna Nityadas, and he gets covered by another identity. I am the controller, I am the enjoyer. And then, he tries to enjoy, but he is beaten a lot. He is thoroughly beaten. It's like हमारे कॉलेज के टाइम में हमारा एक वार्डन था, सो हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ गड़बड़ करता रहता, and students were not happy. So one time, this person, he was taking the round of our hostel. So some boys, they thought, चलो यार ये अच्छा टाइम है, So they switched off the main light and किसी ने कंबल लाके डाल दिया उसके ऊपर और ऐसा सबने उसका पिटाई किया. So that's how living entities are put in this material world, and then a covering of darkness is put, and then Maya Devi beats that person, and पता नहीं चला पिटाई कर कौन रहा है ना, कहाँ से पिटाई हो रही है, who is beating me, और जब तक वो बाहर निकला भाग गए सब लोग. So that's how, you know. So Chaitanya Charitamrita also describes that Nitya Baddha Krishna hoite Nitya Bahirmukh Nitya Samsara Bhunje Narakadi Dukh Sei doshe maya pishachi danda kore tare Adhyatmikadi tapatraye tare jari mare Kam krodhera dasahiya tare lati khaye Bhramite Bhramite yadi sadhu vaidya paye. You know, so he says living entities are wandering in this material world. Nitya Baddha Krishna hoite Bahirmukh. We have turned our face away from Krishna. What are we doing now? We are getting troubled. Nitya samsara bhunje narakari dukh. Hellish, you know, miseries. And under the influence of Kam and Krodha, we want to enjoy. Because of that fault of enjoying separately from Krishna, we are kicked by Maya Devi again and again. Tara lati khai. But somehow, by great fortune, Bhramite Yadi Sadhu Vaidya Pai. If he gets a devotee doctor, Sadhu Vaidya, then that devotee, what he gives? He gives a mantra. Taropadesha mantre pishachi palai, Krishna bhakti paye tabe Krishna nikate aaye. So he gets the mantra of bhakti, of Hare Krishna mantra, and then he gets close to Krishna. Otherwise, nirvritim na virajyate. If he doesn't get association of devotee, doesn't give up this conception that I am suffering here. We know the story of Indra. Prabhupada writes that Indra became pig, and Narad Muni is thinking, Bichara Indra, kahan yahan pe swarg bhog kar raha tha, now he's suffering there. He goes and tells, oh Indra, please come back. He says, no, just see, my beautiful wife has just given birth to two cute kids. I have to take care of them. Who will take care if I'll go? So that's how everybody thinks that I'm enjoying. And Prabhupada says, even a hog who lives by eating stool finds himself happy. Although a person in a higher mode of life sees that hog is eating stool, how abominable that life is. And Prabhupada goes into a very graphic descriptions of these things sometimes. There's some pig, they like wet stool. It is juicy. Some like dry stool, crispy, you know. But what is that? Stool is stool. Whatever way you enjoy in this world, it is all miserable. It is the birthplace of misery. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate. However you enjoy, the result will be misery only. Narakasthopi deham vai. Even if you get a body in hell. So this body of lower species, it is hellish body. Na pumam stektum ichchati. He doesn't want to give it up. Because in that status also, he gets certain type of pleasure. Nirvriti. Nirvriti means satisfaction. It is all Deva Maya. It is all material energy working. So Maya Devi, she is such a wonderful person. You know, she always keeps one hopefully frustrated. She never makes one hopelessly frustrated. मतलब इतना पिटाई हो रहा है, नहीं कुछ तो होगा. Next time I will, हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन. That desire never goes. So that's how. And in between थोड़ा happiness material energy gives, you know, 4-5 झापड़ पड़ेगा फिर थोड़ा सा, you know, अच्छा, it is not so bad. So Maya Devi doesn't allow one to get up. You know, we are sleeping on the lap of Maya. जीव जागो गौरचंद्र बोले कतो निद्रा जाओ माया पिशाचीरा कोले. So Maya Devi, she has created such a wonderful dream. And a person who is dreaming, he may be chased by a tiger and he is crying and he is running, shouting. And the person who is awake, what he is doing? He laughs. बोले क्या है ये सपना देख रहा है, पागल रो रहा है. But for that person who is dreaming, for him it is a real misery. जब तक सो रहा है वो उसके लिए रियल है वो. What he has to do is just get up. But now Maya Devi doesn't allow a person to get up. So that is the problem. So only hope is when a living entity gets association of devotees. Then this personality, he is materialistic person. He is so very absorbed in all these things. He doesn't want to give it up. Atmajaya sutagara pashu draviణ bandhushu nirudha moola hridaya atmanam bahumanyate. So such deep rooted attraction he has for these 8 things. Atma, body. Jaya, wife or husband. Suta, children. Agar, house. Pashu. Pashu means in today's terms vehicles. Dravena. Dravena means wealth. Bandhu, relatives. And then Rajya also, property. All these create deep rooted attraction in the heart. And he thinks, Atmanam bahumanyate, just see, I have so much of the property. I am living such a happy life. Prabhupada went to one life member and he was a rich person. So he was showing Prabhupada his house and then he was telling his property, business, and then his wife came, children came, and then their grandchildren. And Prabhupada heard everything and then he went inside to do something. And then Prabhupada said, and this is my sex life. This is how I have enjoyed this world. So that's how this power of Maya is such that one becomes absorbed in all these things. And Prabhupada writes, one who acts on the mental plane cannot get promotion to spiritual. Such a person is always sure to glide down again to material life. So the more one is attached to these 8 things, he cannot focus on Krishna. Bhoga Aishwarya Prasakta. If somebody is attached to sense gratification of this world, he cannot develop fixed determination to practice bhakti. And then he is constantly suffering. He's constantly in anxiety. Sandahyamana sarvanga esham udvahanadhina karotyaviratam mudho duritani durashayah. Sandahyamana, just to maintain these 8 things, a living entity really suffers anxiety. All his limbs are burning with anxiety. Sandahyamana sarvanga. Itna anxiety, it is like burning. Esham udvahanadhina, in order to maintain his so-called family and society. मेरा है, मेरे को ध्यान रखना है. Such a fool, mudha, karoti aviratam. He has a hope it will never be fulfilled. He thinks that I will maintain this eternally. All this will always be there for me. Second canto Bhagavatam, Shukdev Goswami says that a person thinks that these are my soldiers, and they will protect me. But they are themselves fallible soldiers. How they will protect us? They themselves won't stay. Body will get deteriorated. Husband or wife will go and die. And the children will go away. The property will be also decreasing. And everything is deteriorating in this world. But still, the person thinks, Atma Sainya Asatsu api. Deha Apatya Kalatra Adishu Atma Sainyasu. This is Meri Sena hai ye. They are themselves fallible. Tesham pramatto nidhanam pashyannapi na pashyati. और देख रहा है सब लोग सब जा रहा है. But still, he doesn't realize this. Prabhupada writes, it is said that it is easier to maintain a great empire than to maintain a small family. So Prabhupada gives a very strong, purports and very sobering chapter. मतलब जो भी संसार में क्या क्या पिटाई हो रहा है लोगों का. Prabhupada writes, influence of Kali Yuga is so strong that everyone is harassed and full of anxieties. Why it is easier to maintain an empire than family? Because There are so many expectations of family members. And in order to fulfill them, a person really is frustrated. Bhagavatam calls that in a family, if Krishna is not in the center, the family members, the attachment to family members, it is like the chains which bind a person. And his family is like Karagraha, prison house. Tavad ragadayastena tavat Karagriham griham yavan mohongri nigado yavan Krishna natejana. If Krishna is not in the center, his house is Karagraha. Karagraha is not kar with graha. It is prison. कारागृह है वो, और उसमें मोहोंगड़ी निगरोध, attachment is like the chains, and that's how a person suffers. Prabhupada writes, the materialists do not know that family, society, friendship are only shadows, and they become attached to it, and they are always burning, but they still work to maintain the families, false families. अपना है ही नहीं कुछ संसार में. Whatever family we have with us, Bhagavatam says it is like two straws of river coming together. मतलब बहुत ही ऐसा भयंकर लगता है नहीं? इतना मेहनत कर रहे हैं हम लोग, and ये बोल रहे हैं two straws of river coming together and being there for some time again get separated. So what is this? मयेवं ममाधमस्यापि स्यात् एवाच्युत दर्शन रीयमान काल नद्या क्वचित् तरति कश्चन. Akrura is saying, just by the will of providence, some straws they come together and get separated. Similarly, today I'll get darshan of the Lord. नैकत्र प्रिय संवासा, ये संसार में कुछ भी प्रिय लोगों के साथ रह नहीं सकते आप ज्यादा दिन. सुहृदम चित्र कर्मणाम ओघेन व्यूहमानानाम प्लवानाम श्रोतसो यथा. Plava means straws, they come together, they stay for some time, get separated. So they don't know. टेम्परेचर थोड़ा सा 25 या 26 पे कर सकते हैं. So they still want to work and maintain his family. They have no information of real family life with Krishna. And when people get frustrated with relationships of this world and they have some inclinations, then they think, I want to enter into Brahman. अभी मेरे को कोई relationship नहीं चाहिए. इतना पिटाई हो गया है. So many frustrations. I don't want to, and if they are told नहीं वैकुंठ गोलोक में भी relationships है, बोले नहीं चाहिए. Relationship means problems. मैंने बहुत देख लिया इस संसार में, problems ही problems है. Nobody is happy and satisfied whatever I do. But then what gives him impetus in the family life? इतना पिटाई हो रहा है, still why he doesn't want to give up? आक्षिप्तात्मेन्द्रिय स्त्रीणाम असतीनाम च मायया रहोरचितया लापैः शिशूनाम कलभाषणम. This is what keeps a person attached. Akshipta atma indriya. He gives his mind, his heart and senses to a woman, or for a lady, men. Asatinam, and that lady charms him with maya. And then he is embracing and talking to her. And then on top of that, what happens? When two people come together, children are born. Kalabhashanam, totally boli bahut achhi lagti hai na, So that's how a person gets attached. He cannot give them up. Even Prahlad is a small boy, 5 साल के खुद है, and he is telling, in the family life, when the wife speaks such sweet words in solitary place to husband, he gets so much attached. कैसे मालूम पड़ गया? कथम प्रियाया अनुकंपिताया संगम रहस्यम रुचिराम शमंत्रण. बोलते मंत्र बोलती है. सुहृत्सु तत्स्नेह शिता शिशूनाम कलाक्षराणाम अनुरक्त चित्ता. When children are born, कलाक्षराणाम, कलभाषणम, same word is used here. कलभाषणम, उनकी तोतली बोली में इतना आसक्त हो जाता है वो, he cannot give them up. So that's how the family life keeps them trapped and they cannot give it up. In the previous times, When people would live in joint families. So, somebody was telling that according to one research, there's a difference between male psychology and female psychology. And a male average daily, he speaks around 2000 and 3000 words. And females, at least 7000 words they need to speak. उनका वो साइकोलॉजी है, वो उतना नहीं बोलेंगे तो संतुष्टि नहीं होगा. So that is there. That's how a person is made up of. No criticism, but that's how a person is. So पहले वो जॉइंट फैमिली में दिन भर सास ससुर से बात हो गई और आजू बाजू वालों से बात हो गई, चल रहा है और मोस्ट ऑफ देयर कोटा इज एग्जॉस्टेड. सो व्हेन द हस्बैंड कम्स बैक, वो 1-2 हजार बात करके वो शांत हो जाते हैं. दे आर हैप्पी एंड सेटिस्फाइड. बट नाउ nobody is there, nuclear families. And when the husband comes back, मेरे से बात ही नहीं कर रही. So that's how, a person in today's, especially in 21st century, it's so very difficult to understand the needs of other individual and be satisfied in life. So person anyways never becomes satisfied. In today's Kali Yuga, all the more the situations are that it will create dissatisfaction. So that's how, Prabhupada writes, the love of a woman, for sure, whenever we hear in the scriptures, it is always for the opposite gender. It comes in, Kapil Dev tells in one of the purports, one of the verses, that for man, women is Maya, for a woman, man is Maya. So he says, love of a woman at home and talk of a children makes one a secure prisoner. Secure, and he doesn't want to leave his home. Maya has created a house, a prison house, where there are no walls, but still nobody wants to escape. भागने ही नहीं किसी को, walls नहीं है. So that's how he gets some happiness. And then he gets some rare happiness. Griheshu kuta dharmeshu dukkha tantreshu tandritaha kurvan dukkha pratikaram sukhavan manyate grihi. So he thinks that he is happy. सोचता है कि मुझे अच्छा, मैं सुखी हूँ, I am happy, I am enjoying life because I am taking care of my family, I am providing them all the necessities of life. छोटा मोटा दुख आता है, लेकिन क्या करें, this way life is. सुख दुख तो आता रहेगा, कभी खुशी कभी गम तो चलता ही रहेगा, उसमें क्या बोलना है अभी. He thinks that he is happy. So griheshu kuta dharmeshu, this attached householder remains in his family life full of diplomacy and politics. It is all full of diplomacy. And dukkha tantreshu atandritaha is always, this family life is always spreading miseries. Dukkha ka hi tantra banta rehta hai idhar. The noose off and the spread and the net of miseries keep spreading. Kurvan dukkha pratikaram, and his whole happiness is, I could counteract all the problems. जितना भी प्रॉब्लम था सब सॉल्व कर रहा हूं मैं अच्छे से. That's the only happiness he gets. And Prabhupada gives the example कि वो person when his head is put down in the water and उस बाहर निकालो ऐसा. So what is happiness for that person? जब अंदर बाहर आ रहे, I could breathe. So when there are no miseries, कितना अच्छा life है नहीं? I'm so happy. So that's how. Dukkha pratikaram sukhavan manyate grihi. Prabhupada writes, happiness means successful counteraction of the effects of distress. That is the happiness. I am able to counteract all the problems of my life nicely. I am happy. No positive happiness. Happiness means सब negativity जो भी है solve कर रहा हूं मैं अच्छे से. जो भी प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है, हेल्थ इश्यूज, आई एम सॉल्विंग इट. फाइनेंशियल प्रॉब्लम्स, आई एम सॉल्विंग इट. रिलेशनशिप्स, सोसाइटी, जो भी प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है, आई एम एबल टू सॉल्व. प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग मोड इज द हैप्पीनेस. Unless one becomes a clever diplomat, his life is failure. That's how this world is. And then he continues. He wants to maintain his family, and for that he does everything. He even commits violence. Arthairapaditain gurvya himsa etastatastataan pushnati yesham poshena shesha bhugyat dhasvayam. Very strong words Kapila Devi is saying. Just to maintain his family, tan pushnati, he gets wealth, arthair, by any means. Gurvya and himsaya, by great violence. He is ready to do anything to get money. And what he gets in return, everybody eats and they go, and whatever remains, he eats that. So he tells. That's what he is. Shesha bhuk yati. जो बच जाता है, that's what happiness. सब लोग खा लिए ना, तो ठीक है, हम तो थोड़ा सा खा के संतुष्ट हैं. I'm happy maintaining my family. So he maintains the family, but the same family members criticize him that you are not able to maintain. Prabhupada writes that there is a Bengali proverb: the person for whom I have stolen accuses me of being a thief. जिसके लिए चुराया वही बोल रहा है चोर है. That's how it is. So Bhagavatam condemns even a pious materialist. What to speak of impious materialist? So all Mahabharata, it is all about dharma, artha, kama, moksha, how to live life piously, in a pious way. Bhagavatam says, what is this piety? It's all nonsense. Whether you live a pious life or impious life, you'll have to come back here, right? So Prabhupada writes. Yeah. Yes. So basically, the pious life is good because sometimes a person who is pious, he may give charity to a devotee and he'll get some agyat sukriti. So in that sense, pious life is little better. So one should not reject all the material dharmas. Hearing all these things, a neophyte person, he thinks, देखो इतना problem in life में सब मोह माया है. A neophyte may reject lower dharma in the name of devotional service. Why I should maintain my family? Aisa moh maya, just like we deal with lots of students. So students, when they start coming to Krishna consciousness, say, Prabhuji साहब मोह माया क्या पढ़ना है, छोड़ो ना, आपका लाइफ कितना अच्छा है, नहीं, तो वैसे आ जाओ इधर, नहीं इधर ही अच्छा है प्रभुजी. So if a child goes home and mother says, बेटा थोड़ा मार्केट से सब्जी ले आ, बोले सब्जी मैं इसके लिए जन्म लिया हूँ, लाइफ इज फॉर कृष्णा. तो ऐसा सब बोलेंगे तो माँ वैसा झापड़ मारेगी फिर. So that's how people, new devotees, they start taking all these high philosophies and they reject their lower dharma of taking care of the family properly, responsibility. Detachment is not irresponsibility. So that's how it is. So one should not be obsessed with material attachments, and one should not reject them prematurely thinking that is a moh maya hai. आज इससे छोड़ देंगे and then okay, I'll come to temple, I'll stay there. फिर यहाँ पे भी सेवा है क्या? अरे बाप रे, उधर ही अच्छा था फिर तो. So that's how one should act in a way of nishkam karma. I don't want the results. That's what Krishna is telling to Arjuna. Nishkam karma. Do your work for me. So a householder, he does bhavatah parityaga. Inside, a person is detached, but externally, he has to maintain the family, society responsibilities, and a renunciant, he has swarupatah parityaga. Externally also he is detached, internally also he is detached. But a householder, externally he may seem to be attached, but internally he is detached. So that is what one needs to do. So that's how he's saying. Prabhupada writes, the process of illusory service to the society, country and community is same everywhere. So Prabhupada writes that there are great leaders of the country, they wanted to do welfare for the society, but they are killed by the same countrymen. So what is the use of all that? So as we are living in this family, in this society, if we get obsessed by material dharma and we don't give priority to spiritual dharma, then we'll fall down. So that's how we have to balance everything. Give priority to spiritual dharma, our practices of Krishna consciousness. And at the same time, we have to take care of whatever responsibilities we have in a detached way. So all the dharmas are dynamic many times. Our family, our society, our health, our job, and our devotional service. Sometimes, health is in crisis, so I have to put more focus on the health. Sometimes, so my family relationships, I have to put more focus, I have to give them time. Of course, our basic practices of Krishna consciousness should never be compromised. Our 16 rounds, that's our basic practice. Apart from that, there is a dynamic balance. Sometimes you get more time, okay, put more time in chanting, hearing. Sometimes you have to take care of the family relationships, go to the marriage and take care of some family member. So we have to take care of all that. So somebody may say, so devotee may ask, अरे इतना सब करने के बाद, is he at least successful in maintaining them? He says no. वार्तायां लुप्यमानायां आरब्धायां पुनः पुनः लोभाभिभूतो निःसत्त्वः परार्थे कुरुते स्पृहाम्. So arabdhayam punah punah, after trying again and again, what he does, with time he sees that everything is falling apart, although he's trying his best. And in due course of all this, lobha abhibhuta, he gets overwhelmed by greed. And what he does, he desires wealth of others also. And in this way, he's in constant anxiety to maintain his family. It is not about poor people. Everybody is in constant anxiety, either to maintain family or maintain his status quo. Rich people, for them, oh, I have to maintain my status in the society. Or for them, they are working so very hard. For a poor person, he's working to maintain his family. Everybody is in anxiety, and that's how he spends his whole life working, and now he has become old. And then in the old age, what happens? Evam swabharana kalpam tatkalatraadayastatha nadriyante yatha purvam kinasha iva gojaram. Now he is not able to support them. Swabharana kalpam. So his wife, Kalatra, his children, nadriyante, they don't give respect to him now. आदर नहीं देते हैं, यथा पूर्वम, पहले जैसे देते थे. They don't give respect. And he is like a old bull now, old ox. The farmer doesn't respect and treat the old bull in the same way because it is a burden on the family. It is burden on him. So Prabhupada writes, not only in the present age, but from time immemorial, no one has liked an old man who is unable to earn. That's how this life is. And Prabhupada gives some, very shocking statistics. In some communities, old men are given poison so that they'll die as soon as possible. In some cannibalistic communities, Prabhupada writes, old grandfather is sportingly killed and a feast is held in which his body is eaten. देखे होंगे कभी प्रभुपाद, सुने होंगे. So Prabhupada is really aware of the world situation. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? So therefore, Prabhupada says it is judicious to give up attachment to the family before one attains old age, and one should employ himself only in service of the Lord. Tatrapi ajat nirvedo bhriyamana swayam bhritai jarayopat vairupyo marana bhimukho grihe. In this way, he is disgusted with his life, deformed by old age, and he approaches death. His whole life, he has done so much for his relatives, his children, his family. Nobody is respecting me now. He is disgusted, he is frustrated with his life. So in this verse, upper verse, he is compared to an old ox, and then Kapila compares him with a dog. आस्तेवमत्योपन्यस्तं गृहपाल इवाहरन् आमयाव्यप्रति अप्रदीप्ताग्निर् अल्पाहारो अल्पचेष्टितैः। गृहपाल घर के कुत्ते की तरह रहता है। वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग वर्ड्स भागवतम यूजेस, मतलब जस्ट भागवत में बहुत गाली है, लॉट्स ऑफ स्ट्रॉन्ग वर्ड्स टू मेक वन डिटैच्ड, बोले निकलो इधर से, he remains like a pet dog, and whatever is given to him negligently he eats it. Children, they gave him, lo, inko bhi de do, and he eat. Anyone remembers any other place where such things has come? No. Grihapala, a person is given like a dog and he shamelessly eats it. That's what Vidurji tells Dhritarashtra. You are living like a dog in your family. Bhima pavarjitam pindam madatte grihapalavat. Bhima comes and throws some food and you are eating like a dog. Ghar ka kutta, grihapala. So he has so many illnesses now. Amayavi, Apradiptagni, his, Agni is Manda. He loses his appetite. He eats very small morsel of food and he is invalid now. But still, he cannot give up. He cannot give up his attachment. Even at the last step of his life, he is attached. And he doesn't want to give up his attachment. And Prabhupada says that even a person who is about to die, he tells his family, he tells his son, beta, dekh lena sab parivar. So now everything is onto you. Aho mahiyasi jantu jivita ashayatha bhavan. Desire to live is so great. One doesn't want to leave. And Bhagavatam says a living entity is wandering in this world just like a dog. Just like a street dog, not a pet dog. Pet dog is really, he gets lots of things. He's taken care of nicely. But a street dog, sometimes he is given food, sometimes he is beaten. That's how. Shut parito yatha dinam sarameyam griham griham charan vindanti yaddinam dandam odanam eva. Shut parito, troubled by hunger and thirst. A dog moves everywhere. Sometimes he is given odanam, food, dandam, punishment. Yatha kamashayo jiva. Similarly, a person under the influence of desires sometimes goes up, heaven, enjoys, sometimes goes down, suffers. So that's how a person is bound. And Prabhupada writes, one should leave his home before old age comes. Maya Devi is so cunning. Even if somebody wants to, she cheats him. एक बहुत अच्छा एक वीडियो है, एक बहुत अच्छा मूवी बना है, इट इज अ डॉक्यूमेंट्री, मुंबई वाराणसी एक्सप्रेस. देखिए आप लोग नहीं देखे हैं तो ये नहीं बाबा, इट इज वेरी ओल्ड, वेरी ओल्ड. नहीं, that is a different one maybe. In that, it is a 30 minutes of video. In that, a person, he's diagnosed with cancer, and then he is a pious person, and he knows that अभी मरने वाला हूँ मैं, डॉक्टर ने बोल दिया अभी आपके पास 3 ही महीने बचे. He thinks he is a great businessman, so he thinks I'll give up my family. Prabhupada writes in one of the purport, in this purport only, Prabhupada writes, one should leave home and die without the knowledge of his family members. That is a glorious death. He says, ऐसा जगह जाओ कि किसी को पता ना चले. So he also thinks कि मैं काशी चला जाता हूँ, काशी में मरेंगे तो मोक्ष मिलेगा. So he goes there, and he knows that अभी मेरे पास ज़्यादा समय नहीं है. So then he is just remembering God and doing his bhajan, and then somehow miracle happens in movie. After 1 year, 3 महीना हो गया, 6 महीना हो गया, मर ही नहीं रहा है वो, and he is becoming better, healthy. So after 1 year, as he's eating samosa and jalebi, one day on the newspaper he sees something. बोले यार ये तो मेरा ही कंपनी है और मेरे बच्चे मेरी कंपनी को बेच रहे हैं. So the person, he is so one of the other person, he says, क्या हो गया साहब, आप क्या सोच रहे हैं? बोले आप जाने का तो नहीं सोच रहे हैं ना वापस? So he doesn't say anything. He says, हाँ सोच रहे हैं, मतलब you want to go back? He said, sir, you have given up everything and you have come here to leave your body and develop connection with God. Now you are healthy. Now you want to go back? So on the way, as he was traveling from Mumbai to Varanasi, सूरत में उसका ट्रेन रुकता है. तो सूरत में somebody says that, अरे यहाँ का जो एक होटल है ना, ये स्टेशन के बाजू में इतना फर्स्ट क्लास होटल है, यहाँ पे नहीं. इट इज सेड दैट क्या वो, खाओ तो सूरत में खाओ और मरो तो वाराणसी में, काशी में. तो उस समय तो वो नहीं खाता है, उसका ट्रेन जा रहा है. सो नाउ ही इज रिटर्निंग, ही गिव्स अप एवरीथिंग, रिटर्न्स. तो बोलता है अरे अभी यहाँ पे सूरत में फिर से रुका है ट्रेन. तो वो उसको याद आता है ढाबा, अरे उसने बोला था अरे लाइफ वेस्ट है अभी नहीं खाया तो. सो ही गेट्स डाउन ऑफ द ट्रेन, ही थिंक्स अभी 15 मिनट के लिए रुका है, कुछ खा के आता हूँ वहां पे, समोसा खा के आता हूँ. तो एज ही कम्स आउट ऑफ द स्टेशन, क्रॉसिंग द रोड, एंड ही इज हिट बाय अ बस, ही इज किल्ड. दैट इज द क्लाइमैक्स. बोले किधर सब छोड़ के गया था मरने के लिए काशी में, नाउ he is already attached, he has become attached, comes back and he is dying here. That's how. Acha, I don't know. So Prabhupada writes, sometimes a person is so attached, he tells his family members, मेरे मरने के बाद ना, make a great procession for me. ऐसा एकदम धूमधाम से मुझे ऐसा शमशान में लेके जाना. Although he is not there to see, but he gives all the guidance. Some of our devotees, they go for Harinam Sankirtan every day, na? So one of the persons, he told that, so आप आएंगे क्या, हमारे मेरी माँ का डेथ हो गया है तो उसमें थोड़ा कीर्तन करना है. सो दे ऑल वेंट. और उसकी माँ ने बोला था कि देखिए मेरी लास्ट इच्छा है, मेरे 4 बेटे हैं, उनके 4 बेटे थे, तो मुझे ना वो गाड़ी में लेके मत जाना शमशान. 4 बेटे हैं ना, 4 कंधे पे उठा के मेरे को लेके जाना, ये मेरी आखिरी इच्छा है. एंड दैट शमशान वाज लाइक 1 or 2 kilometers from his home. सो ये बेचारे उठा के, माँ की अंतिम इच्छा है, चलो चारों बेटे उठा के लेके जाने. अरे क्या अभी आखिरी इच्छा है तो ठीक है, अभी पूरा करना ही पड़ेगा. That's how this person, he doesn't know where he is going, but he is happy get, आप लोग ना मेरा अच्छे से एकदम ऐसा शमशान में सब अरेंजमेंट अच्छे से करना. That's how he is. I'll end in just 5 minutes to complete this chapter. And then is dying now, his eyes are bulging out, his glands are becoming congested with mucus, and he cannot even breathe and speak. Does he change at this stage? Still he doesn't change. Still he doesn't want to remember Krishna. He doesn't become detached. He lies down surrounded by the relatives and everybody is crying, oh my father, oh my brother, oh my husband. Prabhupada लिखते हैं, सब relatives. Prabhupada writes, for formality's sake, his relatives come and sometimes cry very loudly. खाली थोड़ा सा, मतलब क्या है, अभी रोना पड़ेगा. उनको मालूम है बूढ़े हो गए हैं अभी, ठीक है, इतना बुढ़ापे में प्रॉब्लम दिए हैं, ठीक है, अभी मर रहे हैं तो थोड़ा सा अभी. That's how, typical Prabhupada is, मतलब कौन से extent तक जा सकते हैं लोग. And then at the last day he wants to speak, but he cannot. His throat is congested and in this way he dies. And then what happens after death is a scary thing. What is the experience of a person on the way to hell? So this one, picture painting very graphically tells everything what happens. He gets a body suitable for punishment. Yatana deham avritya. Usko yatana ka deh milta hai. So that he suffers and he doesn't die. So Yamdutas, they come, they bind him around a rope around his neck. Pashair badhva gale. Gale mein rassi बांध के खींचते हुए लेके जाते हैं. They drag him for a long distance to hell. Hell is 99,000 yojanas from this place. खींच के लेके जाते हैं. He doesn't die. Because मर जाएगा तो फिर उसको punishment कौन देगा? He doesn't die. And then on the way they chastise him with all the words, and on the way he is bitten by the dogs. It seems there are dogs also on the way to hell. And as he is bitten by the dogs, he remembers his sinful activities. जीवन भर याद नहीं आता है उसको. मरने के बाद जब जा रहा है, he remembers everything. And Prabhupada writes about abortion, how it is a gateway to hell, and then so many things. And then as he is walking, it is said that the path is made up of copper. And not the copper which we see, it is something subtle. And the fire is put underneath. It is burning. So, upar se scorching heat of the sun, below fire burning, and he is made to pass through that. Sometimes there are sand and forest fires all around. And in this way, they are whipping him. Sometimes he falls down unconscious. उसको वापस उठाते हैं, वापस पीटते हैं, वापस लेके जाते हैं. In this way, he is quickly brought to Yamraj. He travels this distance of 99,000 yojanas in 2 moments or 3 moments. 1 yojana is 8 miles. So 99,000 yojanas, 2-3 moments पे पहुंच जाता है. And what happens there? Oh, बहुत खतरनाक चीज होता है उधर. He is put in midst of burning pieces of wood. यहाँ पे जैसा दिख रहा है. His limbs are set on fire. Sometimes he is made to eat his own flesh, and sometimes other persons eat his flesh. यहाँ पे लिख ये देखो खा रहे थे. And then sometimes dogs and vultures, they pull his intestines out, and snakes, scorpions bite him. And 2 elephants sometimes pull him and tear apart his limbs. Sometimes he is pushed from the mountain peaks. Sometimes he is put under water. And those who engage in illicit sex life, they are put in various types of hell, Tamishra, Andha Tamishra. And then Kapil Dev says that actually there is hell on this planet also. People, they are living in hellish situations of life. And in this way, after leaving this body, a person who has done sinful life, led sinful life, he suffers. And after suffering, he gets a body in lower species of life. And in fact, Prabhupada writes, and he also says, Kapil Dev, that a person who is about to become a pig in the next life, in the hell, he is given training. He is made to eat stool and urine. ये तो practice कैसे होगा? कैसे खाएगा वो बाद में? So that's how he is. And then after living his life in lower species of life, again he comes back to the human form of life. So that's what happens when he comes to the human form of life in the womb of the mother. What happens? That we'll be discussing the next class, next chapter. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.